Alright, so in this tutorial I'm going to talk about how to mic a drum set with 8 mics. And so I'll start out with my basic drum set here. And we'll have a 5-piece drum set with, this will be our floor tom, 3 toms, and we have a snare here, and a hi-hat, and maybe a few crash cymbals or whatever. So this is, let's say you have 8 microphones to deal with, or 6, and we're going to go for each microphone on each drum. So first of all, we're going to start with the bass drum, and we're going to stick a bass drum mic in the bass drum, and you can work with how far to go in with that bass drum mic. It's good to have an actual bass drum mic. You can get away with using a vocal mic though. And then we're going to use an SM57 on the snare. And basically when you mic the snare, you want to be an inch in from the rim and an inch above, and usually pointing, straight down into the snare. So that's how you mic the snare, and I'm using an SM57. That's a Shure. So this is the bass drum, is the first mic, and then you have your snare, and we're going to use a SM57. And that's also what we're going to use on the toms. So we're going to use a SM57 on each tom, and this is the 2 top toms and the floor tom. Now there are some methods where if you just want to put one tom mic in between the toms, you can, but it's in this method we're going to pretend that we have enough channels to mic as many toms as we have. So 3, 4, and 5 are going to be toms, and again we're going to use SM57s. If you these are great mics, they work on all the drums really well. And then that's 3, 4, and 5, and then maybe 6, 7, and 8 we're going to use overheads. When you're miking the toms, you do the same method, but you can come in at an angle. You can come in at an angle from the tom. The more angle you get, the more of the tone of the drum, and so if you kind of point it in still about an inch away. Okay, let's talk about overheads. A pencil condenser on the hi-hat is good, and a pencil condenser works well, so you can put that on a stand by the hi-hat. And then, so we're going to do condenser on the hi-hat. And then we can do 2 large diaphragm condensers on the overheads. And you can make these, put these like this, or you can put them in an XY pattern in the middle. So an XY pattern in the middle, or you can put them one on the left, one on the right. So this is overhead, and then overhead. Now this is pretty much miking every single drum, and you can get a great sound doing this, and you can compress and gate each one of these tom mics and EQ each thing separately, run them back into your board, and then run all 8 channels of your board into a sub bus mix, which I talk about that in another tutorial. So this is miking every single drum, and just remember on your snare, you're about an inch in from the rim, about an inch above, and pointing about straight down. And same with your toms, you're about an inch above, about an inch in, and you can have them pointing straight down or at an angle, and you can get the best sound like that. These overhead can have to be condensers, and most likely these tom mics are dynamic mics, SM57s by Shure, so you can look that up. But these have to be condenser mics, and you can use pencil condensers that are longer and more pointed, or you can use a large diaphragm condenser, which are bigger, spread, and pick up a lot more room. Alright, so good luck miking your drums, and it just takes a while to tweak these out, and you should be able to do this no problem.